introduce yourself. So, my name is Tino. I'm back again for round two. I am a men's strength coach, I guess is the best way to say it. So, basically, helping men really build confidence, kind of figure out who they are, find out their calling, really just solidifying their identity and like who God made them to be their most authentic self so they can eventually attract relationships, build a lifestyle. Maybe it's a business, a creative life that complements who they really are. And that's, in a nutshell, what I do. Since we last spoke, what has come up for you? Execution and like really integrating everything that I'm learning about myself and about life, about business. That's really the season that I think that I'm in is just execution, just go, just put it all together because I have the tools. I've invested so much into myself up to this point. I've been doing this work for like almost 10 years. So I have the knowledge, I have the information. Obviously, there's always more to learn, but I really feel that it's my time to just put this stuff into place and just make it happen and look back and analyze later because that's always my issue is like I'm an analyzer first and I overthink things and that's actually what prevents a lot of the results that I could get because I'm thinking too much. So I really want to get in the practice of just like going first and then thinking about it later. So that's a big one for me. Growing up, when did you first feel like you weren't enough as a man? Sheesh. It's a good question. When did I first feel that? I don't know like a specific age, but my earliest memories of like when I was, I'd say elementary school, like around that time, maybe even a little bit after that, I don't really know. But ever since I was a kid, I always really felt like there was a big disconnect between me and masculinity. Like I just never felt like I kind of fit the mold because all we ever were advertised are like dudes that are like completely jacked, 6 foot. They drive trucks, they shoot guns, and like I like to shoot guns too. Don't get me wrong, but it's like the country thing. It's not really me. I'm much more, I guess you could say, artistic, or I just have different interests, right? And I just remember as a kid, I would always kind of compare myself to the cooler kids or like the popular boys in school, the ones that played sports or usually contact sports. It's a big reason why I ended up playing football in high school because I wanted to fit in. And then I fell in love with the game. But a lot of it was just because I wanted brotherhood, I wanted community, I wanted male bonding. And yeah, when I was a kid, I just didn't really feel like I belonged, I guess, or just because I was kind of always like the kid that knew everybody, the kid that would get along with everybody, like I said last time, but never really fit into like a specific group. Like I would be like playing video games and like would talk to the quote unquote the nerds, but then like there'd be kids who would be, I guess, more popular, and I'd kind of fit in with them too, but I never really fit in specifically anywhere. So I kind of was in this like limbo of figuring myself out. I didn't really know who I was until I graduated college, if I'm being honest. Like it took me a long time. But I just remember always like comparing myself and thinking like, oh, well, he's got the girl and he's got the money and this kid got, he's just cooler than me, the dress is better than me, whatever. And it was always a comparison game. Yeah, I just never felt like I owned my stuff, like I owned who I was as a man. And then I learned about masculinity later. And I'm like, oh, so this is actually what it means. But yeah, that's kind of where I started. What was the hardest belief you had to unlearn about being a man? Ooh, that's a good question too. To unlearn. Kind of to build off of the first point I made is like always thinking that masculinity had to fit into a box, that it has to look a certain way. Not to say that there isn't guiding principles, because there definitely is, like being a leader, being ambitious, being someone with a vision, and being a protector, provider. I totally believe in those things. But I think that there was a big issue with me, especially with the football thing, because when I joined football, I'm like, all right, I got to get huge. It's when I fell in love with lifting, and now I love lifting weights. But when I was doing it back then, it wasn't because I loved it. It was because I felt like I had to just to fit in. Like, okay, guys lift weights. Like, let me lift weights. I want to get on the team so I can prove myself. I want to become a starter so I can prove myself. I want to, be good at football so my friends will like me and I can make new friends. Like, all of it was just a game of approval seeking. and trying to win people's trying to win people's approval, or really trying to win my own approval in the long, in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, just that whole process of me, because I remember days where I would just like kill myself in terms of practice. Like I would stay after practice and do like 1,000 ball drills and cone drills and just run myself into the ground. Now it was good work because I learned what hard work was about. I learned what like camaraderie was about. I learned about discipline and all that, which is great. But I did push it too hard to where I kind of was very like, I wouldn't say toxic, but I got very aggressive like unnecessarily. I remember like I pushed some friends away a little bit that like maybe didn't play football. I'm like, oh, I don't hang with you guys anymore. Like I'm with the football bros, or even friends on the team. Like I had friends on the team that weren't necessarily like starters, and I remember vividly one of my friends told me something about one of the positions that I was shooting for was receiver, and he was like, "Oh, the X position just opened up. Like I wonder who's going to get it." And I looked at him, I was like, "Me." I was like super. I was confident, but at the same time, it was like a lot of arrogance behind it. Because he was like, "Oh, okay. I thought it was going to be like an open competition." I'm like, "Nah, dude, it's mine to lose." Now that's again who I thought I had to be to like get what I wanted because I wanted to play. I wanted to be a starter, but I thought, well, I have to be overly arrogant and cocky and full of myself to actually own it, and that's just not true. You could be super confident and still have a humility around you and still, not tear others down when on your way up, you can bring others with you. So I had to really learn that on my journey. It's like masculinity isn't like destroying other people or stepping on the heads of people below you. It's about bringing them up. And that was a big one. Yeah, it's like you can either, there's a great quote that says, a man has the ability to destroy or to create. And you should have the ability to do both, but which one are you going to choose and who are you going to be? And that really stuck out to me. If you could go back and teach your younger self one thing about masculinity, what would it be? Yeah, I think really it's authenticity. Just a piece that just keeps coming up for me. Like I don't have to be anyone else besides me. That's part of my program that I have now. Is a lot of the work that I do is helping men realize like they just have to be themselves to be the strongest version that they can be. Now there's elements to like leveling up and growing a skill set and these kind of different things, but you don't have to change who you are. Like you don't have to change the core of yourself. Like if you're a guy that loves to lift weights, dude, be a lifter. Like if you're a guy that loves to play video games, I love to play video games. I still do to this day. I play video games, but I also work out hard, and I also take care of my education. I read books. I listen to podcasts. Like I said, I want to learn how to fight. So part of what I want to do this year is join a fighting gym. You don't have to be so static in one lane with this is what it means to be a man. I think as long as you follow under the category of like the supreme tenets, like being a protector, a provider, being a leader in your own way, like you're good in my eyes. And obviously in my faith's example too, it's the same thing. Like, men don't have to be one way, even Christian men. Like you don't have to be just one way that all Christians behave. Obviously still having a central, obviously the Bible, you follow that, like a central theme with that, but I'm learning even with my faith, it's like you can still be authentic and you can still be yourself and still, be a good Christian and be a good man in all of that. So it's huge. Authenticity is really everything. In our last interview, you said you were the guy everyone liked but no one knew. Who were you pretending to be? What were you afraid of happening if you stopped performing? Yeah, these are good questions. Who was I pretending to be? I was pretending to be the guy that was just on everybody's side. Like, again, never really liked to rock the boat. I was always the neutral person. I was like Switzerland. I was neutral. Like I never took sides because I was basically friends with everyone. And I remember vividly of moments where like, I'd be in one friend group and I'd be in another one, and this friend group would talk smack about that friend group, and I'm in the middle because I'm like, well, I like them too actually, so I don't really have anything to say about it. I was just very much obsessed with never being the one who was disliked, or just never being the one who stood out because it's like, oh, you like them, or you think this, your opinion is this. I just could not fathom doing that, and I was just pretending to be who who that group wanted me to be. Like I was very much a chameleon. It served me well in a lot of ways because I learned how to like build social skills and how to communicate with anybody from any place, from any, any background, which is still a skill that I have now. I think I was losing a bit of me in all of that. What was I afraid that would happen if I stopped performing? Yeah, I think really it's the basic fear that we all have. It's like the fear of rejection or the fear of judgment, the fear of not being accepted and all of that really because as a kid, that was one of my biggest fears of just not being accepted by groups or by anyone. So the performance was just to kind of hide my true self or hide my true opinions or my true beliefs or any of that because I was much more concerned with getting along with everybody than I was being fully expressive and being myself. Because there were moments, I remember this when I was young, like third grade, where I just said whatever the hell I wanted. And I just did whatever I wanted and it was really really freeing. Now there was moments where it was like kind of too much because I was kind of a rebel back then. Like I just got in trouble a little bit more that year, and a lot of funny stories actually happened that year. But I think a part of me knew that's who I was, but then another part of me was like, hey, I don't want to do that because look how much trouble I got in that year, and I almost thought that was I guess it was too much. Like I'd get in trouble if I was actually being fully myself. So that was an interesting time in my life for sure. There's a lot of pressure on men to be the provider. That's what I was just saying. There's a lot of pressure on men to be the provider. Do you think that pressure makes men feel like they are never enough? Yeah, absolutely. I think, and it comes back to the comparison thing. Like obviously being a provider I think is super important for a guy, but there's multiple ways to be a provider. Like every guy, and myself included, think it's just financially, which is a piece of it, but that's not the whole picture. Like it's being a leader spiritually, it's being a leader emotionally, mentally, having a vision, going somewhere, having direction. And there's absolutely pressure in that. I feel a lot like the pressure to perform, the pressure to create results, to make things happen. So it's there, and I feel empathy for all the guys that experience that because that's it's a real thing. But I'd say like during that process, um, it's really really important not to not to compare. And I know it sounds like such cliche advice, but it's true. Like you don't want to look at someone who's a millionaire or figured their life out and be like, I have to be there now. You be inspired by them. You can challenge yourself. But I just think internet culture makes it way worse, and like social media culture can really make you feel bad about yourself, and like you don't have enough. Like, oh, you're terrible. You're so far behind, and it's just it can get to you. So like one of my favorite lines is like go touch some grass, like go outside, like build a life, like stop worrying about what people think about you or what social media says that you need to make six figures, you need to be 6 foot, like all that stuff is just goofy to me. I think you just have to focus on your strengths, build on those, and work on your weaknesses, and yeah, eventually you will be a provider in your own way. Like I don't think you need to be a millionaire to be a provider. You could easily be a provider as long as you live within your means, you're smart about it, you find a partner that also wants the same things as you. But yeah, that pressure is real. It's in a way it can be a challenge for guys to build themselves and to improve. But I think when it when it makes you doubt yourself, when it makes you feel like you're disempowered, that's when it can be tricky. So you don't want to go that you don't want to go to that realm. But you know, they say pressure makes diamonds. So in a sense, you do want a little bit of pressure to like become the man that you say you're supposed to be, but in your own, in your own way. Do you think men today understand what it means to lead in a relationship? Phew, yeah, I'm glad you asked that one. Do I think they know what it means? Honestly, no. I would say the majority do not know, and I only say this from experience because I didn't know. Like that's the only reason I can say that is because I sure didn't. I thought leading in a relationship was basically just being, I don't know, like just the breadwinner and just having the money or like just paying for everything, and because that was my early like model of a relationship dynamic. Like my dad still is today, like the breadwinner, has a business. My mom works too, but he'd always take care of the bills. He just paid for everything. Half the things they ever thought about was money, not having the money, or the bills are too much or this or that. And so that was all I ever knew was growing up is just okay. The guy was the guy with the money. Like the guy had the money and he provided for the family and his wife. And I thought that was all that meant until I really learned what, like I learned psychology, I learned about men, I learned about women, I learned about myself. And I learned it took a lot more than that. One of my earliest mentors, one of the OGs in the game, Corey Wayne, he really kind of shined a light to me about what a healthy relationship looks like from the masculine and from the feminine perspective. And it just made a lot of sense. And it honestly gave me hope. Like, oh, wow, I don't just have to be the money bags. I can be somebody, like, I can be more than that. And, a lot of it, I think men are led astray. Men are kind of misinformed when it comes to leadership in a relationship because all they have to see are the most extreme examples, like in the red pill and the manosphere and all these other guys saying same things I was saying. Like you gotta be 6 foot, you gotta have this, you gotta have abs, you gotta have a 6 figure bank account. It's just ridiculous, and I think a lot of that can intimidate guys because they think well, that's all women look for, and that's just not true. I've had enough experience with women, talking to different women, either romantically or just casual conversation. They're genuine like people. They're not all gold diggers, although like there some are. I'm not gonna say they don't exist. A lot of that is just learning. I mean, again, it's you kind of have to learn human behavior if you want to get like good at leading a relationship because you have to learn what women like. You have to learn what women respond to. You have to learn what men are really good at and what we respond to. So it's a more of a psychology thing than anything. But the best piece of advice is just go get experience. Go out and talk to people. Go out and be social. Um, go out and try a couple relationships, fail, like fall on your face. Like that's the best kind of experience because you'll learn. Like you'll really learn like what it takes. You'll really learn what you like. You'll really learn that you don't have to be this crazy character that is made up online to get into a relationship. I think that's one of the biggest fears that men have is that like they think that the standard to get into a relationship now for men, the average guy, is just like impossible because all these women have these ridiculous, standards, which again, some do. I'm not going to say they don't, but you'd be surprised if you go out there and you start talking to women, you're just being genuine, you're being authentic, you're being super confident in your approach and your delivery, how well women will respond to you. I mean, if you're just a guy that has a bit of ambition and a direction and you know how to carry yourself well, you dress decently well, you take care of yourself, and you just know how to lead an interaction, meaning like, hey, let's go over here. Let's like, what are you doing next week? Do you want to go out? Like, do you want to grab a drink? Do you want to grab ice cream? Whatever. These are just my go-tos, but you just know how to escalate things forward. It's very easy, actually. Like, it's not hard to start leading women in that way. Now, a relationship, different skill set because it takes time, but that's kind of another conversation with like how difficult it is to really be in a relationship. But yeah, I think most men are very confused about that and are very misled about all that because again, the internet, social media, they have these weird examples and these very extreme examples that just aren't real life. So yeah, I was misinformed, and a lot of guys are too. That was a long way to say all that. But what do you think women misunderstand about men? Oh, that's a good question. Well, there's a few things that could be its own. That could be its own podcast on its own, to be honest. The one thing that comes to my mind is just how much men really want to just be appreciated. Like I think that goes so undersaid, especially on social media. Men, because men really do like they provide so much, whether it's money or like a house or like a vision, a direction. That men are literally like sacrificing themselves for their woman. At least that's what a man should do. Sacrifice himself for his family, for his future, and all this stuff. And at the end of the day, a guy just wants to be like, hey, I see you. I'm proud of you. I'm happy for I love you. Like a guy just wants to be appreciated, especially by his woman. Like there's a funny little meme going around right now where there's like a guy. I actually might have to do this myself. It's a pretty good piece of content. There's like guys that are basically like their girlfriend or the wife will come up to them and they'll like whisper in their ear something like inspirational or motivational or like, hey babe, I'm proud of you, like thanks for going so hard or whatever. And then and then the scene would cut to this like Linkin Park song, and like they'd show like these the most masculine things, like a dude just getting jacked, like a shark jumping out of the water, like just the most like masculine badass pieces of clip, and it's like that's real though. Like the fuel that gives a guy when he hears from his woman like how much she appreciates what he does, and how much she really values him. That just, I mean, a guy will literally go to war for that, and I will too. Like my, future wife, if you're watching this, you want to get me going, just tell me how much you appreciate what I do and what we're doing, what I do for you and the family. It's like that'll freaking go far, really far. And yeah, I just think guys, a lot of guys, unfortunately, just feel very undervalued. Like they get in relationships and they don't feel appreciated, or they're given all their stuff and they're given all of themselves, and it's to the wrong woman. And that's what makes them feel like, well, relationships suck, women suck. It's like, bro, you're just in front of the wrong audience, man. Like, get a girl that actually does appreciate you for being you, which is rare. Like, it's rare to find a relationship that really works long term like that. But that's the beauty in it, and at the same time. Yeah, that's huge. Like men, I hear that a lot from guys. Like men just want to be recognized. That's one thing. There's some more, but that's probably the most important one. What are your thoughts on the idea of the divine masculine and the divine feminine? Do they need each other? How do they complement each other? Yeah. I that was like one of the first things that I studied, I think, when I got into self-improvement, which is like masculine, feminine, and all that kind of stuff. My opinions on that, I'd say it changed slightly, but not that much. Like I probably just call it masculinity and femininity more than anything now, just because a lot of it is very science based. Like it's very psychological. It's very human behavior. There's a little element of like faith and stuff thrown into it, but it's very grounded. And I think, what was the question? What are my thoughts on it? Yeah. Do they need each other? 100%. Like 100%. There's a saying that says, women need to feel wanted and men want to feel needed. And I just think that's so true. Like that's basically how the masculine and feminine are. Like women want to be praised, women want to be obviously respected, women want to be propped up, not on a pedestal, but like she wants to feel good. She wants to feel like her man actually cares about her. That he's taking care of things. That she doesn't have to be in process all the time in her head. Like she could just relax and she could just have fun and just be bubbly. And the feminine's almost like I always say the feminine's like the moon. Like the moon, you never know what the moon's gonna look like. It could be a half moon, it'd be a crescent moon, it'd be a full moon, it'd be no moon at all one night. But that's very much how women are. Like you just never know what you're gonna get. You never know what each day is gonna bring. And as a man, man's like the sun. It's gonna be the same space, same spot every day. You know what he's gonna be doing. You know that it's gonna be a full, bright, hot sun. Very consistent, very structured, very disciplined. And I think like a man's role is just to create the structure and the space necessary so the feminine can be herself. Like just whatever that looks like. Just be. It's like a dance. It's like a very artistic type of dance, and the guy just provides space for her to be who she is. If she has a rough day, because women are generally more emotional, let her be emotional. And part of being a man is understanding your emotions. So when she has emotions, you know how to deal with it. You're not just like, oh God, well, I'll give you your space. See you later. Like you can actually be there for her and actually let her go through her stuff. You can hold space. Um, And the women do that for men, like men that are just like always on go mode, men that are just like constantly improving and grinding. A woman literally softens his heart. Like she makes him feel like, oh wow, I can relax. It's like a warrior that goes out in the battlefield. He has a shield, he has a sword. You know, he goes out and just he's like he just seen some stuff. Like he's in the battlefield. He comes home, he can take his armor off. Like his woman's there. It's like, oh, this is comforting, and that's a huge part of like growth as an individual and as a couple because um, we need both. Like women need that in a man, and a man needs that in a woman. Now, obviously, like human beings have both. Like a guy can be nurturing, a guy can be warm, a guy can be soft. And just as a woman can be, you know, like strong and go hard and be ambitious and all this too. But my experience is there's always a dominant one. Like there's always men are generally going to be more masculine. Obviously, women are generally going to be more feminine. And I think that if you're, especially this is hard if you're single, is like a lot of the times you can kind of like burn yourself out. Like if a guy is single for so long or a woman's single for so long, maybe she has to play both roles. And same for a guy, like he might have to play both roles too. And it's just like, a woman's gonna be better at being feminine than the average guy. And the average guy's gonna be better at being masculine than the average woman. So it's like we need each other. You need to give each other that space. And it's why a relationship is like literally it's why it's so biblical because it's like you're literally becoming one flesh. Like you legit become one. You move as one, and both complements each other. You have what each one needs. Um, and that's the kind of last question. How do they complement? It's like you just have what the other one needs. And again, there's differences. Like some women are going to be more masculine, some guys are going to be a little more feminine, and those are the ones that probably should be together. A girl who's like genuinely masculine, not like putting on a mask, because that's a whole other conversation too. Because they think they need to be one. That's probably not as popular. It's not as many women are like like genuinely masculine and men are genuinely feminine. There's still like a heterosexual connection. It's a little bit more rare, but it exists. But the idea is you want to be with someone who complements you. So if you're a guy and you're super masculine and you need that soft, nurturing, feminine, like it goes vice versa. Like it's not just you know, a one-way street. Like we need each other. So super important. How has dating been for you? Be honest. Um, I mean, it's been a hit or miss. I would say mostly miss because I'm still single, but to be honest, like I've had a good bit of dating experience before. Like I was always the kid in high school who this is also part of my story. I just didn't have a lot of experience. Like I didn't have a lot of girlfriends back then. I was always around women and like I was always like friends with women and cool with them, but I never like they never saw me in like the in that light, like as a romantic option, which is kind of another part of the whole not feeling like a man because like I didn't get any girls back in high school. Like they probably liked me, but I just never made a move. Like I was too afraid. I just didn't know how to do it. I didn't have a lot of guidance around that. But once I got to college, I started to learn about like relationship dynamics. I started learning about human behavior, a little bit of psychology, and then I started getting some dates. I started working on my physical appearance, started working out more, eating better, um, started being more social. It's just all things that naturally give you more options like that. And then started going on more dates, and then got into the dating apps. That became a big thing for me. It was to the point where I was dating quite a bit, like from college up until I'd say like 24, 5. I went on a lot of dates, a lot of mostly first dates too. That was always my thing. Because I'm very intentional and very picky. Like if I don't like you after one date, there's no point in going out on another one. I don't want to waste each other's time. So for me, I started out being like really just kind of experimenting, like just going out with a lot of different girls just for mostly kind of I guess you could say, shallow reasons. Like I was just having fun, just kind of messing around, hooking up, whatever. Because again, I didn't have a lot of experience, so I was just like, felt like again, I feel like I needed to do that because like, oh, guys, like gotta have experience. So I just started messing around, and then I remember having this experience actually in college where I met this girl, and I thought that was one of the first opportunities for me to really find someone that I could be with, like a legit relationship. And we were both in really different places then, but it was very toxic. It was very manipulative. It was very like situationship type thing. But I remember a big lesson from that was because I was so ungrounded, I literally chased her away. Like she was like very much, she was testing crazy hard because I was trying to put on this front that I was so confident and I had it all figured out and I was the guy, whatever. Meanwhile, I had no idea who I was. I had no idea where I wanted to go, what I wanted to do. I didn't have any purpose back then. And I think that was the big problem, is because I put her on a pedestal. Like literally, she was the center of my world. Like every day I would be thinking about her. Every day I want to wait for a text. I couldn't go outside. Like there was days where I wasn't eating. I wasn't socializing because she didn't text me back. Like it got that unhealthy. And then I learned from that the hard way of how important it is for a man to just have purpose, like to have things that he's doing, to have a vision, a direction, no matter how small it is, because that has to be your foundation. Like you want to invite a woman into your world, you don't want to make her your entire world. And women don't want that either. Like that's what women will say, all the things they want to say. It was like the truth is they don't. Like they don't want you to be 24/7 available all the time, always like always around, always up her butt. They just don't want that. And I had to learn that because I was that guy, texting all day, good morning, good night text, and constantly. And it's just she just eventually kind of like it just lose attraction. Women lose interest after that because I had nothing else to do. I was in school, but I didn't have a mission. Like I was getting my degree, but I knew it's not what I wanted to do long term. So I had no mission, no plan, no calling. And women know that. They feel that. And after that happened, it's really how I got into this business. It's what a big reason that inspired me to make the brand was from that experience. So I'm like, yeah, women actually are attracted to men that are going somewhere, that have, they have a mission, they have a calling. They don't put them at number one. I know some women might not like me saying that, but it's true. Like they don't want to be your number one. They want to be part of your high priorities, but not the thing. It's just the truth. That's what feminine women want. And I had to learn that. And after that experience, I started dating a little bit more intentionally. I got my first girlfriend, I say back in like 2022, 2021, 22. Mostly because I never had one before that. I was just like, yo, let's try this relationship thing out. Let's see what it's like. I knew I could have one. I just never committed to having one because it was hard to find someone who I thought checked all the boxes. Who some of it's fear related. Like I was afraid, like what if it doesn't work out? All these different things. And so we started dating. It's about like a 7 month relationship. And this is when I learned that you can't compromise your values because I found out a lot of things that I just didn't like. We weren't really aligned politically or religiously or mentally in a lot of ways. I think a lot of it was just a physical attraction at first. And she said some things that I liked, like we got along. She's a great person. There was just things I realized that I actually needed in a relationship, and I didn't realize how important that was until I was in one. And that's when I had to learn. Okay, you address these from day one. Like, what's your worldview? What do you think about? What are your values? Where do you want to go? And then decide if you want to be with someone long term. So that was back in 2022. Really, ever since then, I haven't really been dating like that. Like, I kind of took a step back, based on where I'm at now. Especially with my faith, I'm very much more intentional. Like, I'm really trying to like save myself for the person I want to make my wife one day. So I haven't really been dating, and if I have, it's very few and far between. Like there was a date when I was kind of traveling around last year. I did go on like maybe one or two dates with a few women, but there were women that I thought, okay, there's potential here. Obviously, it didn't work out because here we are. But I just really haven't been focusing on it like that as of late. I really do think that this year I'm gonna be more open to that. I'm gonna be more, I guess, bold with that as well. Because you just the reality of it is you can't meet your future husband or wife sitting at home or just working all day long. Like you have to get involved in some kind of social setting. You have to put yourself out there in some way. It's been challenging, but it's also been very eye opening. I think for me because I learned a lot about myself and about who I want in a partner and who I am and what I really need. And my brother just got married last month, so that teaches me a lot just watching them and watching like that grow and develop because I was there basically from the beginning too. And I think that's a reason most people don't like to get into long-term relationships. It's like, well, there's why the hookup culture stuff is like so popular now, or why everybody's just like kind of hit it and quit it type is because it takes deep, deep intimacy to really build something beautiful. Because like there's gonna be days where you guys want to kill each other. There's gonna be days where like you're broken or she's broken. You need each other to like lift them up, and like you're gonna see the worst of the worst. You're gonna see the worst of her. You're gonna see the worst of you as a guy, and people just don't want to do that. It's just very, very uncomfortable because relationships they take work and they take a lot of humble humility. They take a lot of reflection. They take a lot of vulnerability, and it's hard, and that's why I think people today, mostly men, I would say, because speaking as a man, like men are afraid to just, they're afraid to be exposed. They're afraid to find that wrong woman who just kind of ruins it for them. Because that's a lot of guys will get very cynical with that. Women too, but I think with men, like there's always like the famous phrase like, "Oh, men are afraid of commitment." It's like, I mean, there's elements of truth to that. Yeah, we're afraid to commit to the wrong girl because the wrong one will make us be like, "Yo, screw this. I don't want to do this anymore." Um, it's tough. It's tough. Like men are very well, men should be very, very selective with who they invite into their world because it's a very important decision to make and you want to do it with the right person. So for me, I'm like just I'm living my life. I'm on my journey. I'm definitely gonna find her along the way, but I'd say it's a it's an element of like feeling the openness to be accepting of something like that because you could totally be on your path and like, oh, I'm not dating at all, screw that, I don't even want to think about it because you're gonna be very closed off. I was there probably a few years ago where I was all about myself and building and going, and I just wasn't open to the idea of a relationship. And as a result, you're not going to find any opportunities because you're not even looking for them. So now I'm a lot more open. I think I'm a lot more, still obviously growing and doing my thing, but I could see a girl coming into my world and like we do things together. Yeah, she's gonna be my wife, whoever that is. So 'cause I don't want to have to do it with multiple people. So yeah, that's kind of my dating situation. Any final thoughts? In line with what we're talking about here with some of these questions, I think it's really important for men to discern who you're following and discern who you're getting information from because, yeah, just a lot of guys are getting information that maybe sounds good, maybe has a grain of truth in it, but can be very damaging and it can lead them astray and it can basically just confuse them in what the heck they even think masculinity is. And I think a lot of the examples today in like the red pill sphere and the manosphere and just basically the most popular guys in like the men's content creating space, whatever you want to call it, they're just not the best examples. And I think guys have to be very careful with who they watch and who they consume, where they're getting information from, even in the household too, like even in your family, like you know if you have a good father figure, that's amazing, it's a blessing. I have a great one, but mine was very just not really present there emotionally or present like mentally. I think it was very much like he was there, but we never really had a strong relationship when I was young. We do now because I had to grow and mature and I kind of initiated that more, but Yeah, growing up, I just didn't have a lot of guidance. So it's real important to just be careful who you watch. Be careful of what you're consuming. Obviously, you want to be in community. You want to be in brotherhood. I think it's essential. It's vital for a man's development. Just be careful what circle that you're in. Not everyone has your best interest at heart, and not everyone actually cares about you and where you're going. And obviously, I have a Christian lens to that, so that, like, make sure you find guys, good Christian men that actually want to do good things in the world and build something real. But just discern, man. Just discernment is key in really everything. But especially today as a young man, like, just really be careful and know where you're getting information.
Thank you, Tina.
Absolutely.